Hey, and welcome to another episode. I am really excited today. I have my friend Melissa Ng with us, and we have something that we have been working on behind the scenes. We haven't really talked about it publicly yet, but we're going to share a little bit in today's episode. And I really wanted to bring Melissa here today because Melissa helps people have online events, and she's done some really incredible work in the space of helping coaches and consultants and people in the same space that I support people with, but specifically with online events. And I'm all about speaking on stage, storytelling, and sales and all of that. And her and I are coming together for a really special treat. And I wanted to bring her on the show just to talk a little bit about what she's seen in business, what's happening, and for us just to have like a business segment where we go deep. So, Melissa, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited for our conversation.
Me too. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and your story of how you went from working for a company to starting your own business and why you have the business that you have and why you're so excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. My background, I came from a very traditional background and upbringing. So I did go to university. I worked in accounting and finance for a number of years, and I got my CPA designation. So by background and by trade, I'm an accountant, which is so
Nice.
different from what I do now. But I essentially what happened was I worked in corporate for around 3 years before I started realizing I'm like, hey, this is actually not what I want to do in life. Like I cannot see myself working the next 40, 50 years, climbing the corporate ladder, being completely burnt out and just trying to, make it to the next promotion, which was what I felt like I was striving for always. And so I actually started my first side hustle while working in my corporate job in the e-commerce space and started selling physical products online. And then later on, I realized I'm like, hey, this is actually a skill that I can then monetize and share with other people because a lot of my friends, family, and then strangers on the internet were then later asking me how they could start their e-commerce store online too. And that actually started my first coaching business in this whole space. And I learned so much about coaching. We did everything in order to try to scale it up and grow it and tried a whole bunch of different marketing tactics. Burnt out there as well, I'm not going to lie, because we are like everything all at once. But eventually we found this one strategy that was a really good system for us in order to help us scale up, and that's what we use in order for us to, within 24 months, like we scaled to 7 figures in revenue, which was super exciting. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually possible. And this path outside of corporate is something that is actually available and I don't have to stick in corporate. So later on, I think it's been a year and a half now that I've been full-time into entrepreneurship and been coaching. But the latest business I have is called Amplify, where we help other coaches and consultants use the same system that we use to scale our coaching business to 7 figures, and we're implemented in their systems. And it's all around using virtual events and running live online events in order to build trust with your customers, with your audience, and have them convert into high-paying clients.
I love this. So I'm so curious. So we met at an event in Vancouver. We met at a mastermind, and I'm a big fan of masterminds. I host masterminds and all those types of things. And you just never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to collaborate with, who you're going to become friends with. And I just love it because you're meeting new people. So we met probably about a year and a half ago when you just moved to Vancouver. So
Yeah.
I didn't know that you just quit your job and moved to Vancouver. I thought you were already doing this for maybe like 5, 6, 7+ years. So a year and a half full time in your business. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So I always had it as more of a side business as an option way out. But then
Hmm.
eventually I realized because either I focus on my job or I focus on scaling, and we were
Yeah.
growing in it so quickly. So I'm like, hey, this is now the time to leave, where the lifestyle that I want, corporate just won't allow me to have it.
Yeah. And I love this story too, because I think a lot of coaches specifically, they're keeping their job, they're keeping their, 9 to 5, and then they're coaching part-time because they're looking for clients. They're looking to do it full-time, but they're struggling to bring in new clients. Or a lot of people have the golden handcuffs, or they think it's the golden handcuffs. Well, I'm going to get a pension one day, or well, I get, so many vacation days, or I get benefits and all of this. But the truth is, I mean, I've been diving really deep into AI lately. Like the last 4 or 5 days, I've spent a lot of time learning about AI, and it's coming for people's jobs. And the truth is, a corporation, I was just in conversation with someone yesterday, and he was saying that he pitches his AI business to companies to actually reduce the amount of employees that are at companies that have hundreds of people. So people are getting laid off faster than ever before, at least from what I'm seeing. I'd love to hear your take on it. And job security doesn't really exist anymore. What are your thoughts on that? Because I love to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean everything you said I completely agree with. I think AI is really coming for people's jobs. A lot of people think that it's going to be, further down the road, but on like it's here now. Like AI is growing so quickly and it's evolving so quickly. Like in the span of the past 6 months, it went from ChatGPT was good, but ChatGPT now, 6 months later, is phenomenal and it's amazing. And it's only gonna grow in that sense because the more data it collects, the more it learns and, continues to improve. So AI is here for people's job. There was
And it
this
can
video.
replace it. It can replace accountants too. It can replace full-time jobs right now. Sorry, go ahead.
There was this video that I saw where a doctor literally said AI is going to replace my job because they showed a X-ray of someone with like some lung issues.
Mhm.
AI was immediately able to detect what it is and let them know, hey, this is what's happening right now, and this is the diagnosis and what you should do. Doctors studied 10 plus years to do that in order to identify these issues. Now it's
Yeah.
done in 1 second. Same thing with like every other job out there, honestly. But what is kind of separating people from kind of the AI thing is really like your story, who you are, brand, and all of that.
Totally. And that's one of the things that I really love about storytelling and helping people with their story, getting on stages, getting on podcasts, going deep. Because one thing that AI can't do is it can't be you, and it can't replicate your personal story, your feelings, your emotions, your intuitions, and also those subtle skills. So the subtle skills are your intuition, pattern recognition that is not able to be picked up from AI. But I want to go back to your story. I want to go back to something specific that you said, because I'm like, AI, it's my obsession right now. I'm learning so much about it. Is a lot of coaches that I see. And what I love about podcasting, stages, stories, and, high ticket sales training is that when you have a way to market yourself that's effective, you can predictably know how much money is coming into your bank account. So I know if I'm on so many podcasts with an ideal audience or so many stages, and I do what I do and my clients do what they know that they're going to bring in a certain amount of money. It's consistent, and that money is replacing what potentially they had at their job. So when it comes to hosting events, just in general, like in person, online, I want to get more specific with the online stuff in a moment. How do
Mhm.
you think how do you think that is really helping businesses stand out than just hosting a masterclass or attending networking events or trying to find clients on social media? Oh my gosh, don't get me started.
I was so much the same about that. But I mean, so hosting events it's all about connection, right? It's all about being able to build that connection with someone, and especially because of AI, you miss that personal touch. So more than ever before, people are looking to have that more personalized touch, have that connection, and have someone be there, real person, not like a fake person, but have someone be there in order for them to want to work with someone. So the way to do that, especially in today's landscape where trust is so important more than ever than before, uh, how do you build that trust quickly? And the way to build that trust quickly is by hosting and building your own stage, whether it is in person or it's online. Online, you get more of a global audience. In person, nothing really beats in person, but online is the next best alternative. You have the opportunity to deepen that trust with someone over a number of hours in a very short amount of time. So essentially, you're collapsing time versus if you were to do a masterclass, yes, it's an hour, but it's only an hour. Or
Mhm.
you do a online event where it's 3 to 5 days, you spend an hour a day each, and now you've built trust over 3 to 5 hours. And so again, you're kind of collapsing time, even in-person events. You're spending that time building that trust, and you're there to really get to know the other person. And that's how relationships are formed. That's how people know, like, and trust you. And then that's how they buy into a high ticket offer later on.
I love this. This is like you're speaking my language, sister. And the person who introduced us, our mutual friend Matt, as soon as he introduced us moments before, he's like, "Oh my gosh, you need to meet Melissa. You two are similar energies, similar age. There's just something aligned here." So I'm so grateful for Matt for our introduction. And I want to talk a little bit about this for a moment with events because I love in-person events. Like they feel good in my soul. Like I love rocking a stage. I love being with people, but there's also event fatigue. And that's actually something that I experience, not from speaking at events on other people's stages. Like, I love speaking on someone else's stage. They've done all the marketing, they've done all the stuff. And all I have to do is just I go there, I promote the event a bit, I do the things that we do as speakers that I teach. And I go up, I give a bunch of value, and people want to work with me after. I'm like, great. I didn't have to spend, 3 to 6 months marketing this in-person event. I didn't have to book the venue and spend, $5,000, $10,000 plus overhead. Like a lot of these in-person events, which I ran, cost tens of thousands of dollars. And you don't know if people are going to show up. And typically, people like to, maybe it's just a Vancouver thing, not sure, but people like to buy their tickets last minute based on how they feel. Whereas online events, you can have a free online event, give a ton of value. People can be wearing cozy clothing. They don't have to, this is just for the ladies listening. You don't have to wear a bra necessarily. You don't have to like look super perfect. I mean, you want to kind of look good from like the head up type of thing, like the mid chest up type of thing. But it's so much easier to say yes and join an online event over so many days than to fly to a city or commit an entire day to sitting in a chair beside a bunch of strangers that you're like, I don't know if I really want to hang out with a bunch of people today and be super social. Like the thing I love about online events that I don't think is talked about enough is it's from the comfort of your own home and you can reach so many more people and there's not the overhead that there is with these in-person events. So I'd love just to talk a little bit about the overhead difference and what your thoughts are on in-person events versus online events. And then I want to talk about profitability in a minute because I have some stats, personal stats that I've experienced to share with you on my conversions, and they surprise people all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's exactly as you said. When you run an in-person event, there is just so many complications that you have to keep in mind. And even before you host the event, like booking the venue, that's going to cost so much money. That's one of the highest expenses. And then people buying last minute tickets. I don't think that's just a Vancouver thing. I
And
think
food. And the food. Is it going to like what are people's diets? How much food do you need? Like, oh my gosh, sorry, keep going.
and you have to make sure that people are okay. They're like almost a liability in case someone gets sick or something for the food. Like, there's just so many things that you need to think about in an in-person event and that you're responsible for versus an online event. It's so easy. All you need is a platform, which is Zoom or Google Hangouts, because that is free. And you promote it online, and it's really simple. Like, it's just so easy. And even people not having to, even if they don't have to fly somewhere, they don't have to get changed. They don't have to have an hour before the event to make their way to the event and drive and all of that. That adds friction. And where there's friction added, maybe the day is raining. People are like, okay, I bought this ticket, but it's raining, so maybe I won't go. And they end up staying home.
You
So
know, a big thing for me, just to jump in for a second, and
yeah.
I'm sure other women will agree with this, is if I'm going to attend an event, sometimes even though I'm social, I'm outgoing, all those things, sometimes I'll get a little bit of social anxiety if I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a bunch of small talk with a bunch of people there. I just want to learn from the people on stage. And then here's the thing for me. Depending on, where I'm at in my like cycle, what am I going to wear? Like, oh, like I want to wear something comfortable, but I also want to look good. Oh, like it's like the shoes, it's the hair, it's the makeup, it's the social, which is all great, but you don't have to do that with online. I mean, my hair and stuff is done, but I don't have to worry about shoes, sitting beside a bunch of strangers, small talk. I can just dive in and learn and experience the things that I want to learn. Sorry, continue. I just was like, oh my gosh, this is so big. But I'm a
No,
grandma. We talked about this, Melissa. I'm like, after 6 o'clock my time, I'm like, okay, I'm off for the night.
yes, same. We're the same people. No, absolutely, you're right. So it's all of these frictions as an attendee coming to the event, but even more so as the organizer of an event. There's just so many things that you have to deal with that is not necessary if you host an online event. Russell Brunson, I don't know if you know this, but he actually hosted his very last in-person conference
I
this
saw that.
last year.
I wasn't did
This year, February.
isn't Grant Cardone doing the same thing? Was it Grant Cardone saying he's having his last 10X event as well in person, or did I just make that up?
I'm not sure about Grant Cardone. I just know
Okay.
about Russell Brunson because he's
Okay.
been doing this for the past 10 plus years.
Wow.
Every single year there's a conference, but this year was the last one. The
Wow.
reason why, and he actually explained this last year in the conference because I was there, he said that just the overhead cost is way too high. Them booking their hotel costs millions of dollars.
Wow.
Them ordering the food, millions. And because there's so many people there, like he realizes he can get the same results in an online event that's for 3 days as an in-person 3-day conference.
Oh my
So
gosh.
he literally said he's gonna go all into online events. And that's why
Cool.
he's cutting out his in-person conference. Just so crazy
Wow.
because he's done it for the past 10 years.
And that's interesting because like the in-person, as someone who's running events, I was actually just training this inside of my speaking program the other day. I'm like, if you are on someone else's stage, like a physical stage, of course, there's virtual stages and podcasting and all that. We're doing a podcast right now. Is if you're on someone else's stage, and I was explaining to the group, like, you need to know that that person who invited you to be a speaker has invested at least $5,000 to $10,000 if they're hosting a full 1 or 2 day event. It's like minimum out of pocket before anything else. And I know this because I've done it over and over again. I'm like, so if you're not a great speaker, if you're overtime, if you're not giving value, if you're not promoting and helping them fill it up, you're not going to get booked again because people who are running events, they're stressed out. They're like, are people going to show up? Are the speakers going to promote? There's a lot of financial stress. And I mentioned the $10,000 piece. That's a small, frugal event that you're still doing good things. But it's $10,000 upfront minimum before any guarantee. And of course, like, what if something's wrong with the venue? Are there enough washrooms? What kind of food do people want? Then the caterers and the people who are coming in, do we include food? Do we not include food? Where's the location? Is it close to restaurants? Do people have enough time to go to a restaurant? If we're hosting food, what are the food limitations? And then the caterer is going to say, well, we need to know how many people are going to be there at least a week in advance. But so many people buy tickets last minute. It's like, it's stressful. And then the cleanup, the time, the team. So yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so huge difference. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention on just like the difference between online events versus in-person events as far as like, actually, this is a question I have for you, Melissa, is what on average do people spend? And, I didn't prep you with these questions. I'm just throwing them at you. On average, what do people typically spend when hosting an online event? Like, what are some of the hard costs for hosting an online event versus a in-person event? Because I think knowing the difference is pretty cool to look at.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe I'll speak more to the online event. And I know you say you have some stats about the in-person event because you've done
Yeah.
a lot of that. I don't do
Mhm.
as in-person events. So on the online event side, the only thing that you really need is a platform to host your event on. So using Zoom, which is less than $100 a month,
Yeah.
or even using something free. So Google Hangouts is, or Google Meets is a free platform that you can just use. You basically just need a stage, a virtual stage in this case, for you to house people in so that you can talk in front of them. That's really that's really all of it. The other thing that's really important is setting up like emails to remind people of them coming to the event. But you have to do that for an in-person event anyway, so I won't really count that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more for online, so you ensure that people do show up to the event. Aside from that, that's really all the maybe a camera, like a good quality camera so that you show up well online. But aside from that, there's nothing really else that you need to host an online event. As long as you
Right.
have a phone, laptop, that's it.
So
It's
worst case scenario, you host an online event. Let's say you don't have a lot of attendees. Like I like to go to worst case scenario because I'm an optimist and I tend to
Mhm.
attract a lot of optimists in my world, but I like to go to worst case scenario. Like the worst case scenario, you don't have 100 people at your event, depending on what your goals are, right? There's different goals for different things that people are working on. You haven't wasted, you know, I would said hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's wrong, but you haven't wasted $10,000 in the venue and the things, and you have a good experience with whoever's there, and you grow and you learn and you market it to make it better for the next one, which goes with any live event anyways. So basically, we're looking at maybe $100 or $200 expense for an online event versus $10,000. It's kind of a no-brainer in a lot of ways. So thank you for sharing that. That's an illumination. And do you find, because you've been in the online event space for quite some time now, I mean, you've had a lot of experience. Do you find that people tend to stay for the full event? What do you notice as someone who runs events with people staying throughout the event? And do you have anything to say? Yeah, just on that, on
Yeah,
attendees.
sure. Just to clarify, I specialize in running multi-day events. It's not just one day. So the reason why I do that is because trust takes time to build. And so we want to spend at least 3 to 5 hours with your audience to build that trust over time. And also allows you to share more value over that same time frame. So people really get to know you, but also you get to share more knowledge and they get to take action and get that transformation. So that's why I run multi-day events. But in order for people to stay through these multi-day events, it's really all about the value that you provide. If you're providing value, people are going to come back. Even if they have appointments, even if they have other meetings, I've had attendees cancel their meetings and they let me know. They're like, hey, this was so fun. Like I was here for the past 2 days and I know tomorrow we're going to talk about this topic. I just canceled my meeting for today in order for tomorrow in order to come back to the event because I don't want to miss this day
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to miss this memento. So it's really cool to hear that because I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're getting so much value out of this that you're literally willing to cancel whatever thing that you had planned on your calendar weeks beforehand in order to attend the event. So it's all about the value and people will come back if they think it's worth it.
I love that. I think that's so cool. And so it's about the value and really getting clear on who you want at your event, like you would with any other event. And people who are meant to be there, who see the value, will show up and will make that time. And then again, yeah, if it's a multi-day event, that's an hour or so per day. That's way easier to commit to than driving across town and blocking off, a day or 2 or 3 days for an in-person event where I don't know, for me, this is how I am. You may be similar, you may not be. And maybe the listener will be like, okay, D, because I'm on a lot of stages. So
Mhm.
I'm just going to say the thing. But I've spoken at conferences where it's out of town and I can't be in the room for the full day because I'm an empath. Like I'm so energetically sensitive to other people. Like I'm outgoing. If I'm on stage or I'm leading something, I can bring the energy. But if I'm in the audience, and it's like back to back speakers, I get really drained pretty quickly. So I was at a conference. There was about 500 people. It was a really amazing conference. I was so grateful to be a speaker. I loved it. But I was like, I need to get out of the room. So I kept going for walks and I kept being like, okay, Dee, like you should multiple day event, you traveled, it's a 3-day event. You should be there for all of the speakers. And I probably only watched like maybe 4 talks over 3 days because I was overstimulated. And I just was like, I don't want to sit down for a full day and listen to people talk at me. This is exhausting. And so that was my experience. And so I like the idea of it's quick, you're giving value, you're building trust. And then of course people who want to go deeper can.
Yes, exactly. It's not as much of an interruption into their day where they have to then plan ahead for this 3-day or whatever day event. It's
Mhm.
come in, get the value, get to really know the other person who's speaking on stage, and then they can continue the rest of their day because they just have to log off or, exit the Zoom, whatever. So it's not as much of a distraction and disruption into their day, which helps with people showing up.
Totally. I love that. And what I was going to say earlier with the profits, because I talk a lot about visibility and profitability, because what I found from, for years, I spoke on stages and I was a great speaker. I was entertaining people. It was fun. But it wasn't turning into profitability for me in my business at that time. My business was doing well, but I wasn't getting a direct return on investment from those speaking opportunities until I really learned a system around it. After I learned a system around becoming profitable from speaking, I also learned that, there's online events, there's podcasting, and then there's in-person events. And in my program, when I talk to people about, becoming a profitable speaker, it's storytelling, it's speaking, it's inspiring, it's educating, but it's also like, what is that next step and how is it connected? And the reason I'm sharing this with you right now, Melissa, is because you and I have something really cool coming up, which we're going to be dropping in this chat soon. We're going to be announcing the big thing that's happening. But what I found from speaking on stages, podcasts, and virtual stages is actually, guess which one has been my most profitable hour from speaking? Do you think it was in person in front of 500 people? Do you think it was a podcast? Or do you think it was a small online virtual event?
I'm going to pick the third option.
Yeah. So most people think that if there's 500 people in an audience, of course, having more people is helpful. We want to have everyone listening at this thing that we're doing together, which we'll announce in a minute. But I thought that being in person would be more impactful. And my highest selling hour, and I don't do direct sales from stage. It's not my thing. I don't teach that inside my program, was about $87,000 of people coming in from an event. And then my highest selling hour from speaking at a virtual event in front of only 40 people, I converted, I think it was like 30 out of 40 people into a program, and then podcasting. So my highest converting hour was actually from a virtual event in front of 40 people. And that surprises a lot of people because they're like, oh, well, there's only 40 people and it's a virtual event. Who's going to show up? No, that event was targeted. It was over multiple days and it was my highest selling hour. And that surprises people because people think that being in the room with people live in front of more people is more profitable. So I wanted just to pass it over to you and see if you have anything to contribute to what I just said or why you think that is.
I love that so much. And I mean, I had a feeling that was the option because we know of everything that we've talked about. But
Yeah.
it still is a little bit surprising because exactly as you say, you think in a room full of 500 people and it's in person, they would
Right.
convert more. But it's so interesting that an online event converts more, even though you have less people in the room, 40 versus 500, that's crazy. But the amazing thing with an online event is because it's so targeted, everyone in that room is essentially your ideal buyer.
Right.
So the conversion rates in an online event, and this is what I've seen across the board and the whole industry as well, it converts so much higher because it's so targeted and you're
Mhm.
having the right people in the right room. Versus in a conference, yes, there's 500 people, but how many of that is actually your ideal audience or your ideal client avatar? Probably not as much.
I just thought for a moment, this is interesting. I never thought about it this way, but I was like, I think a lot of people go to in-person events because they want the connection, not necessarily the transformation or the information. That just came through. But if I'm going to a live online event, well, I'm more there for the information.
That is so true. Yes. A lot of people.
Interesting.
Yeah. You just gave me a light bulb moment. I didn't think of it that way either. But it's true because even when I go to in-person events, I'm there for like networking. I don't even listen to all the speakers. You don't even listen to all the speakers. Like, that's your day.
Oh no.
So yes, there's 500 people, but how many of them are actually listening, wanting to get information out versus they're there for connecting. They're for the food sometimes, not even for the.
They're like, hey, I'm going to get some food. I'm going to make, or maybe they're looking for clients in that room, the networking, right? Like that's one of the slower ways to grow business. So we know that visibility is important. We know that storytelling is important. I know that since I mastered my storytelling and my execution from speaking on stages, that's when my business grew significantly. And I shared some of those numbers because a lot of people don't believe that it's possible to make tens of thousands of dollars from speaking. And then there's this model of having online events. So for you, like, should we just like announce what we're doing? Or is there anything else that you want to add about online events versus in-person events or anything else that just feels relevant right now that you feel called to share? Oh, this is what I want to ask. Sorry, I got excited. I'm like, no, can I put my hand up? I was like, oh, stop. If you're watching the video. So Melissa, what type of money do people make from running these online events that you are able to share? Like, I mentioned some of the things that I've noticed from what works well for me, but from these events, like how many people are attending sometimes, and what types of conversions are people seeing, and what types of offers? Because I like to get gritty with it.
Yes, I love this question. So clients in my program, their audience size ranges anywhere from, just a few hundred to thousands, like tens of thousands. And what I've seen is even if you have 30 people in the room or even 20 people in the room, people are still making 5 figures, which is so
Nice.
crazy. You would think 20 people, that doesn't seem like a lot, but 20 right people in the room who are super interested in your program and offer can easily make $10,000 plus.
Yeah, or
So
potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on your offer, right?
Exactly. So on the smaller room scale, I would say we've had clients where they only had 20 people in the room, but they made like, $12,000, $15,000 in basically just a few days.
Nice.
And then on the bigger scale side, where we have coaches that are scaling, they've had hundreds of people in the room and they make $100,000 in one sitting, essentially.
I love that. I love that. And what I love about it too is like one of the things that's a converter for me is I love to host like 3-hour workshops. Like I'll do like pop-up masterminds for 3 hours and all that stuff. Like it's all value, value, value. And then, hey, do you want more of this? Like this is how we do it. And I think that that's really what it's about. And that's what social media can't do. Like social media, like everyone's trying to go viral. Everyone's being told post more, post more. Like I don't want to be camera ready every single day to post it my entire life. I don't want to be on my phone all the time. I love doing things that work. And so Melissa and I are joining forces because she is like the master at running multiple day events online. I feel like I've definitely cracked the code on sales and speaking and storytelling to have high conversions from being on stage. So we're coming together and we are going to be offering a 5-day event. So Melissa, what are you excited to be teaching inside of the event and what can people expect? And then I'm happy to share a little bit more about what I'll be teaching.
Yeah, so I am super excited to do this collaboration with you because I think exactly as you said, our skill sets are very complementary to each other. And this is like a system that we both use in our own business to grow it as quickly as we are able to because of this. And we've dialed it down to essentially a 3-step system that we're going to share with everyone. I'm not going to fully share that here, but it's super exciting because the thing is, when I was actually first starting my journey into this whole coaching world, and I was trying to get clients and get more visibility and more income, I tried everything. Like I tried posting on social media every day and I burned out from
Oh
that.
my
I was
gosh.
like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this is no longer fun anymore after a year.
You're
And
like,
then,
"Hey, life is great. Actually, I'm exhausted and I'm
yeah,
posting every day and I don't know what I'm doing."
exactly. Or going to like countless networking events. I was so burnt out after a few months of doing that. Like every single week, I went to maybe one or two events, and eventually, like that just drained my soul. Like my energy was so gone. I would take the weekend to just recover.
Yeah.
Or even doing like cold DMings or cold messaging, cold calling people. These are so much time, but like the effort and the results I got from these things, I felt were really low. And it wasn't until we use storytelling to really showcase your story and then share knowledge. And how do you share knowledge? Well, it can be on a platform like a virtual event. In order to do that, to build trust and really nurture your audience, that the results basically J curved and scaled up so much more quickly than I would have ever imagined. And I'm like, hey, business can actually be really simple. It doesn't have to be as complicated as I thought it was. And I think a lot of other people are feeling is also very complicated because they're stuck in this hamster wheel of trying
Mhm.
to do all of these things all at once, but they're not working. And I've been there, done that. We've been there and done that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm super excited because now we can share this. I think for the first time, since we're collaborating for the first time, this whole system of what we use to really grow your visibility, impact, and then so you're no longer hustling and have more time freedom. I think that's so important. That's why I love corporate, to get time freedom and location freedom.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and that's the thing, like, I remember when I had my first business, I owned a yoga company. We went into corporations, offered yoga, wellness, and then personal development, like leadership development. We did all these things, and I was working like 6, 7 days a week. I was burnt out, I was stressed out. I resented the opportunities coming to me, and I felt like I created this cage in my life where I'm like, I have less freedom than I had before. And then I stepped into the coaching space and I kind of just wung it for the first while. And I did well enough. Like there was things that I was doing properly. And then I really discovered speaking and storytelling and being on the right platforms and converting. And what I love about it's so funny. I'm like, this marriage, this merging of what you do and what I do is you've really nailed what this looks like, the process of running online events. And, I really nailed the storytelling and the speaking and the converting. And together, I feel like anyone that joins our event is going to get so much value. So, this event is for you if you are tired of posting on social media or you just haven't been posting on social media and you're like, I don't want to share my entire life. I want some privacy. I want to not be on my phone all the time. This event and this thing that we're offering together, this 5-day challenge, this 5-day event is for you if you've plateaued in your business. Maybe you're at like 5 or 10K or even like 15K months or wherever you are in your business. And you're like, okay, I'm doing well. I have some maybe high ticket clients, but I want to scale it. I want to make more. I might want to double my income. I want to get more exposure consistently. And you might be at a point in your business where you're just like spinning your wheels. You're doing okay, but you feel like you're looking around in your industry and you're like, how come that person is, doing multiple figures? Or how come that person is doing 7 figures? And how come that person has so much success and time freedom? And I don't, because what you do is really powerful. Just not enough people know about what you do. If any of those things resonate, then this event is absolutely for you. And guess what? It's going to be virtual. It's going to be 5 days and it's going to be hosted by Melissa and myself. And I'm so excited about this collaboration because as soon as Melissa approached me about it, I was like, I didn't even know too much about what it was. She reached out and she's like, hey, like I have this thing that I want to do. We should collaborate. And I was like, I'm in. Like, and I don't do a lot of collaborations because everything is about alignment. Like I don't do collaborations unless it's radically aligned because otherwise it's just an energy leak. But it's been so fun building this with you. It's been so aligned. And I feel like the value that every single person is going to get is going to really give them the edge to get their business to the next level without hustling, without grinding, without doing cold DMs or cold calls. Like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to be doing that stuff in my business. Like, who wants to be doing that? Like, no, thank you. So, what else do you want to add to that, Melissa, as far as this event goes? And yeah, anything else that you feel called to share?
Yeah, I think the only thing, other thing that I would add to this is, I mean, you have two people that really tried a lot of different things to kind of get to where we are currently right now. And our goal is to really just share all of that. So if you are hustling and you're tired and you're burnt out and you fell out of love with your business, which for me, I did at some point because I was working so hard, felt more than my corporate job. This is really it. And we're just super excited to have you on and share all the value that we've learned over the many years that we've been in entrepreneurship into a really simple, scalable system that we use in our business to 10x it in the next 90 days. I think if you came in and learned all of this stuff, you really be able to grow your impact, influence, and your visibility online.
Yeah, and what I really love about Melissa, when we first met and when you reached out, Melissa, was you're super authentic, you're super yourself and real, and I really value that in my own life, like people who are authentically themselves. And there's no smoke and mirrors here. Like you've proven it in your business, I've proven it in my business. We're both walking the path. There's no smoke and mirrors here. We're going to be showing you exactly what works and how to do that in your business. Whereas I've been to events before where there's a lot of big talk, but those people aren't necessarily walking the walk. And so I feel really good about this collaboration. I'm super excited. This 5-day event is happening on specific dates. So this is not something you can sign up after the dates. Will we do another collaboration? I have a feeling that we will, but if you're listening to this podcast or you're watching this on YouTube after the events, after the event date, we'll definitely comment below or reach out to me at hello@radicallyaligned.com. Those notes will be in the show notes and we can talk about potential future dates for collaborations with this. But the dates are June 9th to June 13th. So June 9th to June 13th online. And I didn't mention this, but the event, the training, my friends, is completely free. Like, there's no reason not to join, but we do have a VIP upgrade. So, Melissa, do you want to talk a little bit about the VIP upgrade option and why that potentially is a great option for people as well?
Yeah, for sure. But before I jump into the VIP, the dates are June 9 to 13, and it's only an hour a day. So before you think it's full 5 days, it's not. It's just an hour a day, just to clear the air on that. But yes, it is completely free, and we do have an option to upgrade to VIP, where it's going to be a little bit more intimate in the room, and you have an opportunity to ask myself and Deidre any question that you want, and we'll do like hot seat one-on-one coaching, so it's even more valuable. And we highly encourage you to upgrade to VIP to get that experience.
Yeah, I always, whenever I'm going to events in person or online, I always upgrade. Like I was talking to you the other day and there was an online event, not this type of event, a different event. And I just upgraded because I'm like, you know what? Upgrade is always worth it. And the VIP coaching that you're going to get, the hot seats, the questions that you can answer and go deeper, like it's, the value is insane. I won't, mention how much I charge per hour for coaching or what Melissa charges, but it's worth upgrading. So highly recommend that. Again, the dates are June 9th to 13th. It's coming up quick. It's to help you become more visibility, have more visibility and grow your impact, income, and influence. And you're absolutely going to want to be there. Melissa, is there anything else that you want to add and share with our audience before we wrap up this conversation today?
That's it. Super excited for it. And yeah, can't wait to see you all there.
Oh, we're going to have so much fun. Big love.